5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's your name? You're going to have to do Bhangra for us at the end of the session. You're still standing. Okay. So we're going to get started, but before we get started and before I introduce the next speaker and the next session, I just wanted to make an announcement. So Vikas Agarwal has lost his youth conference bag, and he had his Apple laptop in it. Yes. So if you could all just check your bags. If you could all just check your bags and make sure that you have your bag and not an Apple laptop in it. And if you do happen to have an Apple laptop in it, if you could just contact me, or find anyone else that's involved in organizing the conference, that would be great. Okay. So now that I have your attention, we're gonna... Do I have your attention? Yes. Okay. So now that I have your attention, we're gonna start the next session. So the next session is on Hindu youth leadership. And yes, Hindu youth leadership, yes. Okay. And I want to introduce Swadesh Singh. He is the National Vice President of Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha, a BJP youth wing. He completed his MPhil from JNU, New Delhi, and PJ Diploma in Mass Communications from IIMC, New Delhi. A lot of abbreviations there. He has worked as a journalist in news organizations like NDTV, BBC Hindi service, and he's currently associated with a Delhi-based think tank named Indus Research Center. So if you could all welcome Swadesh Singh for me.
As she has given my introduction, so I will start the session, but before I start the session, I have few questions to raise that this session is about Hindu youth leadership, young Hindus leading the resurgence. So I think everyone is agree with this point that a Hindu civilizational resurgence is necessary, and it is the need of the day. But my question is that why this resurgence and how will this resurgence happen? So as I am living in India and you are also part of that organization, either you are associated or you are definitely working with that Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh. And since last 85 years, 88 years, RSS is working on an idea called national reconstruction. Have you heard about that? National reconstruction? National reconstruction. So we are working in that direction. And as a political activist of BJP, and I am National Vice President of BJP Youth Wing, I am working for that cause through politics. And I am looking in this schedule that there are many speakers which will be speaking on media, education, Hindu organization, that how through these initiatives this Hindu resurgence will happen. So I would like to invite Archit Kumarji from USA. Archit Kumarji. Yeah, please. Archit Kumarji is going to speak on responsibility and leadership of worldwide Hindu resurgence. So he will speak on the leadership aspect of our Hindu resurgence. And another is Samir Asthana. Samir Asthana ji is going to speak on leading nationally through Hindu organizations, that how this unity and organization thing will work for Hindu resurgence. Shrestha Sharma ji from Bharat. So Shrestha Sharma will speak on ensuring visibility of Hindu society through mass media. So he will speak on mass media, very necessary tool, a modern tool for Hindu rejuvenation, Hindu renaissance, or Hindu national reconstruction. And last but not the least is Sai Srivastava is not here. And this was a very important aspect, what I think, that entertainment. So I think Shrestha Sharma or we will try to elaborate on the entertainment part of resurgence. So there is one person in Western political thinker, because I am a student of political science, so I will look in the issues from that perspective only. Gramsci, Antonio Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci said that if you want to dominate any system or you want to control any system, so you have to capture state power. everyone must be agree on that thing, that you have to capture state power first. But he goes further and he writes in his book, Prisoner's Diary, that along with state structure, you have to capture school, church, and media also. And church in India or Hindu civilization, that is temple. So for that church thing, that temple thing, we have worked a lot. We are in dominant position. But for school, for education system, for media thing, as Shrestha is going to speak, and if that would be better if Sai Srivastava is here, that entertainment part. So we will start from Archit Kumarji, that who is going to speak on responsibility and leadership of worldwide Hindu resurgence. Because in India, so many things are happening, but what is happening worldwide, means outside India. So Archit Kumarji is going to speak. I would like to invite Archit Kumarji to make his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. How's the volume on this? Too loud? It's good? All right, cool. So first of all, I want to say thank you to the last panel. I think that was extremely powerful, and I learned a lot out of it, and I hope that we all take it upon ourselves to do something about the situation that's currently plaguing us Hindus across the world. So thank you. Reject, respect, rise. If there are 3 ideas you take away from this talk, it is this: reject, respect, rise. The topic of my talk this morning centers on responsibility and leadership for worldwide Hindu resurgence. But really, what does that mean to you? The purpose of what follows will be to impress upon you just how very important this idea is, and the drive at the need for us as leaders of this cause to be active and at the forefront of the Hindu Dharma, so as to provide light in the dark cave we find ourselves in. It's fine. At 15% of the world population, at nearly 1 Hindu for every 6 human beings, we should be a powerful lot. In no uncertain terms, however, let me be frank and clear. Today's Hindus are disorganized, and with this disorganization comes weakness. If Gandhi had stood by himself on March of 1930 at the Arabian Sea coast, daring to make assault against the British Raj, would the result of his actions been as powerful? No. He needed more than 100,000 people to embrace this exercise with him, for Mumbai and Karachi and a host of other cities to join him. When all was said and done, the remarkable feat of civil disobedience involved millions of Bharatiya and changed the course of the independence movement, and that is the same situation we find ourselves to be in today. We have many individuals in our diaspora that contribute meaningfully to the Hindu Dharma, those of us here included. However, they stand alone by the sea, daring to pick up crystallized salt for themselves. They march alone. There's a lack of cohesiveness in our message and in our actions, most certainly in the United States. And while we certainly need leaders and pioneers to advocate for the Hindu Dharma, what I believe we need more is a community of Hindus to walk with those leaders, to be involved, and it is up to the youth, up to you and me, to garner this response. That is where these 3 simple words come in: reject, respect, rise. It is only the youth that can bring the Hindu Dharma from being perceived as an enigmatic, backwards and medieval religion to the clear, beautiful, and remarkable religion that it is. It is only in the present that we can create a future worthy of our rich history. Reject detractors, respect yourself, rise up. Cool. In the first decade of the 2000s, there was a legal battle between the state of California and America and a group of Hindus, parents. See, California law dictates that in the history curriculum, quote, no religious belief or practice may be held to ridicule, and no religious group may be portrayed as inferior. Simple enough, right? Present each religion without prejudice or malice, mock no religions. However, this dictum was not followed. The textbooks presented the Hindu Dharma in a barbaric way. This line was present in one of the textbook drafts. It's up there. The monkey king Hanuman loved Ram so much that it is said that he is present every time the Ramayana is told. So look around. See any monkeys? Condescending, no? Now imagine a 10-year-old Hindu girl in class when her teacher describes her identity as a monkey lover. She feels neither pride nor acceptance, but rather inferiority and shame. These textbooks go on further to describe the untouchable caste as an integral part of the Hindu Dharma and sati as bride burning, wholly and completely misrepresenting the Hindu Dharma. Nowhere in their text is there mention of our Varna society as a way to organize and create duties for all so society would harmoniously function. Nowhere in the text is there mention of the several women who contributed to the Upanishads and how highly Hindus hold women. No, instead, these textbooks take away from our history and instead aim to implant ideas of subservience and inadequacy. These are the detractors of the world. They come in many forms, but they are plentiful. From the restaurant owner who gives you a mean glance as you, wearing a kurta and a tikka after the Diwali celebration, sit down at his restaurant, to political candidates like David Williams of the state of Kentucky in the United States, using anti-Hindu sentiment to win an election. Mr. Williams, of his opponents, said that participating in a ground blessing ceremony for an American job-creating manufacturing plant, quote, doesn't appear to be in line with what a governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky ought to be doing, unquote. As Hindu youth, when our religion is so routinely undermined, we are undermined. When I walk into an interview, I know that I'm being judged for my skill set and my work ethic, but I'm undoubtedly also being judged for being a Hindu and a Bharatiya. And that matters. We have to make Hindus see that. Mindy Kaling, famous TV personality from the Mindy Project, recently won the Glamour magazine Woman of the Year award. When asked about this award, she said this, quote, "It is so nice because people want to talk about my trappings, like me being Indian or things like that. So when I can get complimented for my work, it's so nice." Since when did being a Bharatiya or a Hindu become a trapping? This is the reality we live in. But this sad state of affairs isn't meant to bring us down. Rather, it is an opportunity for the youth to recognize that there is a problem with the way the Hindu Dharma is represented, to stand up for ourselves and our fundamental identities, and to refuse everyone who finds it necessary to bring us down. The detractors will continue to come at us until we reject their premises and negativity. Silence, much like what Kajal said yesterday, is no longer an option. And with the youth driving the charge, a fresh dose of energy and ideas will change the outcome of the worldview of the Hindu Dharma. But the only way we can reject detractors in any space of life is when we respect ourselves. So I ask you today to respect yourself. As the Hindu Dharma weakens, we in turn weaken. Our religion is our set of morals, the compass that guides our actions. It is what tells us not to seek revenge, to abstain from vice, to be pure in thought and in action. It is what tells me that I shouldn't indulge in desire, that I should respect my parents, that I should care about my community. The Hindu Dharma guides my every waking moment, whether I recognize it or not. And this idea becomes a catalyst for driving the resurgence that Hindus desperately need. When people regard the Hindu Dharma as backwards and uncouth, they undermine us, particularly the youth, in the same way. In order for us to create a future where our morals thrive, where our children grow proud of their heritage, where our way of being is respected, and where our respect for ourselves is intact, we must step together and express together. Respect your Hindu heritage and background. Respect the Pandavas who showed us in the Mahabharata that good can and does prevail. Respect your grandparents for the sacrifices they made to once again herald a new era of independent Bharat. Respect your parents for instilling within you the high command of the Hindu Dharma, but most of all, respect yourself for the person that you are, for holding the values that you do, for being a Hindu, the oldest of religions, a religion that has granted so many so much. Because when you respect yourself, you're respecting the Hindu Dharma, and when there is a sin against the Hindu Dharma, it is a sin against you, and it becomes your dharma to protect the truth. So when your cousin comes home from school to ask you about why we believe in such a ludicrous notion as a monkey god Hanuman that our teacher told her about today, your innate sense of respect towards the Hindu Dharma and towards yourself drives you to organize other Hindus to stop the propagation of these misrepresentations. It is this respect that compels one to rise up against the insidious lies dominating the airwaves, much like what Sachin said yesterday, to rise up against the atrocities that occur against us simply because of our existence. Rise up and do your part. Rise up to prevent forced conversion, forced death, forced humiliation. Organize your community to stand together and be strong. I cannot stress that one enough. Work with other like-minded individuals to pool not only resources, money, but also influence. lead the charge to ensure that the Hindu Dharma is not maligned, rise up, because the alternative, as we just saw, is very bleak at best. In the California case, textbook case, the Hindu group submitted 500 revisions, 80% of which were rejected, get this, by a vote of 9-0 with 2 abstentions by the California board. The Hindu groups, although vastly underfunded, another huge problem that we have, were able to air their grievances against the state of California in court, and they settled. Many of the necessary changes, like untouchability, remained unchanged. So, did the Hindu groups fail with their main goal? Perhaps. But they rejected their detractors because they respected themselves, their identities, their children's futures, and instead of doing nothing, they chose to rise up. And when they organized themselves, they did create change, garner attention, forced conversation. That case is now known as the California textbook controversy, if you care to look it up. Imagine if the entire community of Hindus had marched with them. What would the results have been then? Much like those parents, we are that group of activists, and we must rise today to awaken the masses to march with us. Our leadership has to be felt. There's no one else to do it. Your actions, from something as simple as joining your temple board to starting your own organization for Hindu resurgence, is essential. March along and dare the world to stop us. They won't stand a chance. Much like what the Dalai Lama said yesterday, we have far too much to offer. I humbly call upon this august assembly to do what is necessary, not only for the Hindu Dharma and for ourselves, but for our children and grandchildren. It's been an honor to speak here today. Thank you so much.
As you very rightly said that we have to reject, rise, and respect and then rise. Even in India, we usually call it Hindi that, and for Swami Vivekanand, that पहले आपकी उपेक्षा होती है, फिर उपहास होता है, फिर सफलता मिलती है. So it will happen. Even when we were studying in JNU, so we faced that kind of discrimination. We wanted to organize. We had Rudraksh or saffron mark on our head. So our teacher was asking, why are you doing so? So this kind of rejection happens. But we have to unite, and what our motto is that lead, emerge, rise, and organize. That will help us definitely. And our second speaker is Samir Asthana ji, and who is going to speak on leading nationally through Hindu organization. Samir.
If you'll indulge me for 30 seconds, I'm going to steal some time and run with me because I'm going to run over time anyway. So, everybody stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up. Put your arms out. Thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down. And take your left hand, go above your right hand, go like this. All right. I think I see someone in the back not doing it. All right. All right, we good? All right. Now around this. And flip it over. All right, go figure it out. That's homework. All right. So hopefully we're a little more awake. All right. So namaste everyone. I'm Samir. I'm from the United States, and those of you who've met me before know I'm the resident class clown of the World Hindu Congress. There's this dialogue that seems to be pervasive everywhere we go. And it's this conversation about leadership, about building leaders for tomorrow. There are these executive coaches that make huge sums of money coaching business people about how to lead more effectively, how to be more charismatic, and how to perfect their craft. Leadership workshops run in the hundreds of thousands in terms of numbers, and their price tags reflect just how voluminous those numbers are. The dialogue about forming leaders is so entrenched in our society and our mindset that we don't even realize how in your face it really is. But let's pause here. What is a leader? Just in your heads, answer that question. The vague definition that's running through your head right now about what a leader is almost assuredly differs from the picture in the mind of your neighbor. That's because leader has become this amorphous mythical word. It's simply something to aspire to, a thing we do because it looks good on a resume or a college application. Most of us, in truth, and I hate to say it, are not fit to lead, nor will we want to if thrust into that position. And I don't mean us, I mean the general us in the world. Yet we all shell out and line up to become the leaders of tomorrow. For us, sitting in this room, it's because we should be. We are being called and driven to that. It's in our bones, in our blood, in our very core to lead. And there is no group that's more apt or more poised to lead us. So let's go back. What is a leader? Simply put, it's someone who can sway a crowd. Someone who can find a goal and with pinpoint accuracy and focus, drive the herd and the masses to that destination and that goal with blazing accuracy and efficiency. Even Hitler was a great leader. He was a massive turd, but he was a great leader. Right? But we don't want to be leaders like that. Right? Like I said, our penchant for this is in our blood. It's in our tradition. Our tradition laid the foundation for everything we live in today. But it's not about living in the past, right? We're not here in Delhi. We're not here to simply ruminate on the greatness of the rishis and reminisce about the India that was. The past is important. Knowing who we are and where we're from and what legacy is ours has more importance than any of us probably realize. Let's not dwell on the past, though. Instead, let us use and harness that past, that platform, and that foundation that the giants and titans from whom we trace our lineage, our Hindu lineage, lay for us for a springboard to propel us further than our wildest dreams could ever take us. Now let's look at 300 BC and the Arthashastra. Now compare that to its Western counterpart and equivalent, Machiavelli's The Prince, which didn't appear until the early 16th century AD. That's nearly 2,000 years in which Hindus are running circles around the world politically. Or even its earlier predecessor, the Manusmriti, the relevance of which is still touted today. Now, there's a dearth of Hindus in leadership roles. And again, I want to pause for a moment here and distinguish Hindu leadership and Indian leadership. Right? There are certainly many Indian leaders, many Indian titans of business. Right? Indra Nooyi, Harish Manwani, Nikesh Arora, Lakshmi Mittal, Ambani, Tata, Satya Nadella. These are all titans of industry, leaders and movers in the business world. Yet, while they're all Indian, they're not necessarily Hindu. Right? Arguably, many of these titans, for instance, Vikram Pandit, is extremely un-Hindu. If you guys don't know who Vikram Pandit is, Google him, you'll see just how un-Hindu he is. But why do we want Hindus in the collective societal leadership? We all want that, right? It's a goal we're attempting to achieve. It's why we're all here right now. It's something we're all saying is a good thing, but why? Is it to elevate the status of Hindus in the collective consciousness? To advance the Hindu cause through leaders that will favor their own? Maybe to ensure that Hindus have a voice to shape the future for coming generations, or to make sure that Hindu thought find its way into society at large. Maybe a combination. Maybe it's all of them. I don't have an answer. Other than to say, we need to occupy these roles so that what we heard in the last session, that the plight of the Hindus in Indonesia, in Bangladesh, the Yazidis, the plight that they face today will never again happen, right? So that talentless hacks like Iggy Azalea would never dare to dress up as Lakshmi on an album cover. So how do we accomplish this? In order to grab society by its horns and have them take notice of us, and have them realize that the economics and politics they champion today are rooted in thousands of years of tradition from us, we need to position ourselves such that we cannot be ignored. If we believe that Hindus are the right group and are the ones to poise to lead society in the future, then we need to do things like serve in the military. We need to run for elected office. We need to shun the idea that professions like teaching are somehow baser because the pay is less. How ironic that in the dawn of the day, We can teach our children to worship Saraswati, that knowledge is ultimate, that the Guru is the root. Yet at dusk, during twilight, we forbid them from becoming those very gurus and those teachers. Because it's not respectable. Right? You don't understand. See, the gurus we talk about, this is our parents, right? The gurus we talk about, they're not like the teachers today. See, just go study more. You'll understand one day. You just don't know enough now. Our love affair with hoarding money needs to cease, and we need to realize that talking out of both sides of our mouth is not going to get us anywhere. No society can be built of only IT professionals, doctors, and finance managers, or lawyers, especially not lawyers. We need to become complete people who are not afraid to stand up and say, the army life, that's for me. Yet to do this, we need to be confident in who we are. Too many times have we seen, at least in the United States, Hindus reaching the cusp of political greatness or business authority, and they're lambasted for their ties to, quote, radical Hinduism, or simply questioned for being Hindu. Archit brought up Nikki Haley, and I'll talk about it in a second, but almost inevitably, the response to these is to cower and bow, to renounce Hinduism simply to advance their political future. Nikki Haley, a Sardarni by birth, a Christian convert, now the governor of South Carolina. Or Bobby Jindal, the Southern Baptist born a Hindu, so staunchly Christian, he makes the Pope look like a Buddhist. And then there's Tulsi Gabbard, a half Samoan born in Hawaii, an Iraq war vet who used to sleep with a copy of the Gita in her bunk, who used to read it for inspiration when she needed a staying hand to get her through the trials of war. A congresswoman who not only did not cower when pushed about her Hindu faith, but who stood up and proudly took the oath of the United States Congress office on a copy of the Gita. These are the leaders we need. Now, our Hindu organizations are poised, and they're the most apt to nurture and develop these leaders. Why don't our temples have leadership programs? One that don't need to manufacture this fake link to Hinduism. One that builds the leader, makes them confident, so that intrinsic shine, that intrinsic link to the Hindu leaders shines through no matter what. Develop the skills, give the tools, give the confidence. Watch that Hindu pride, that Hindu roar ring loud. Now, I can only speak about my experiences in America. Now, the American culture is such that it literally waters down your desire to retain your own culture, values, and traditions. The overwhelming desire to conform does exist, but the intrinsic urge to navigate who you are and your identity cannot be silenced. Nurture that identity. Emblazon it on your heart and your sleeve, and seek out roles in government, in business, in the arts. Hindus were the greatest entrepreneurs, scientists, politicians, and thinkers the world has ever seen. Why have we shrunk and fallen so far? Let's reclaim that past and launch the new resurgence as the leaders in every facet of society. Like the phoenix, we should rise once again and reclaim our place as leaders and pioneers of society. But we cannot and will not be able to do this. We will not be able to show the greatness that is Hindu thought in Hindu society unless we ourselves first appreciate and learn where we come from, where we are, who we are, and live that identity thoroughly and as our own.
Even yesterday, Dalai Lama ji said that we consider ancient Hindus as our gurus, but not the modern Hindus. And Samir was also saying that the person who is a good Hindu, who feels sorrow in the plight of Kashmiri Pandits or the problems happening in Indonesian Hindus. So for us, David Frawley is a better Hindu than Swami Agrivesh, who is a saffron-clad sadhu in India, and he claims himself secular. For us, Tulsi Gabbard is a better Hindu who gives her own Gita to Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. So very great thought, Samir ji. And I would like to call Shresh Sharma ji, who is going to make his presentation, Ensuring Visibility of Hindu Society Through Mass Media. It's a good topic, and please. Thank you.
Ensuring visibility of Hindu society via mass media. It's for our civilization or our society, it's one of the most important topic because having a content is okay, but marketing it is equally, if not more important. Now, let's talk about our civilization. Hindu civilization had for many decades had gone into hibernation. And like any entity that has forgotten about its inherent powers, we have become defensive. Let's be honest, we have become defensive, and now because instead of acting, we are reacting. That's why we feel hurt. Instead of presenting our views and ideas across, which are in abundance, and we are wasting our time in just fighting accusations, which got generated as people didn't know about our civilization is, what our culture stands for, and what values, ethos, and achievements we represent. Mind you, our civilization is one of the scientifically most advanced civilization we have. Means we have been blessed with these forefathers. Now, if we have been given this kind of a gift, why don't we utilize it? Now, although we know the wrongs that have been committed to Hindus and feel angst about them, but the injustice that have been met to our civilization, but we do not have the platform or an outlet to voice against the injustice met to our civilization in a manner so substantial and powerful that our problems are addressed by the leaders of our nations. So crux of the problem is that we haven't understood what the media is or how to use it effectively. I'm presenting some points as in how we can use it. Media for at the moment, in my perspective, could be differentiated into three parts. First one would be old age media or the oral tradition that we had up till now. Sanskrit is, you can say, one of the most advanced language because we had you can say the oldest traditions of passing information as much in written form as much in oral form. And the reason for that was that Sanskrit by itself is analytical language. And by twisting a few words, we are able to present a lot of words and lot of meanings via it. And combine it with yoga and meditation, we had a very big retentive power. But we have lost it. Now the second part comes as mass media, print and electronics. And the third one is new age media. Our goal should be to bridge that difference that we have from old age media and the new age media. Means we have been passed a big part of traditions and desi nuskhe. Now, why don't we use it and pass it on for, by utilizing new age media? And for mass media, the best thing would be to optimize usage of it. Solution would be focus on untapped gold mines and disruptive innovation in existing models. Don't go for big. Means if you ask from any person, what should we do? Means what kind of a different strategy we can utilize for media. Everyone would say that let's buy a media house or let's buy a newspaper. But those are big things. It's okay to use those also, but I would say we can achieve those things also. But right now what we can do is we can focus on small things also, make them self-sustaining and use it to make a big impact. Because let's be honest, if we are utilizing any means, howsoever a person's good of heart is, but if a particular idea is not self-sustaining, then that it would turn into a charity and it cannot be sustained. Some things that we haven't up till utilized. Gaming and animation, it's a very big industry. And our forefathers were blessed with, means generation before us was blessed with Amar Chitrakatha or Panchtantra or best grandparent stories also. But our generation is not blessed with those things. Now what we can do is, how many of us over here play Clash of Clans or Age of Empires? While our civilization has been blessed with, now those are based on mythical characters. While we had so many empires, so good legendary kings that we can utilize them. Take the case of Pala or the Cholas. Cholas were the first person in our in Indian history, not just Indian history, but human history, who had true blue water navy. That's a very big thing at that time. Now another person would be Harsha. Harsha also had a very big empire, and his track record of winning fights was so big that he lost just one battle in his whole life. He was able to win 299 battles, approximately 300 battles, and lost just one war. And his father was much more legendary. In those times when Huns were considered unbeatable, he was able to defend Indian land from him. Now, why can't we have that kind of a gaming industry and animation for us? It would be a very good gold mine, and we can utilize it for marketability purposes also, and make it a good business perspective. Now, another point could be Spider-Man, Superman, and then these are the animations that are presented to us. That these are very good kind of a good characters, but these are okay. But we have much more better content, and not just saying because I am coming from Bharatiya perspective or from Hindu civilization. This thing has been already proven in market. Tenali Raman and Chota Bheem and Krishna Balaram, these are the products that were catered against international brands like Spider-Man and Superman, and they were able to beat those brands, international catering hands down. All the kids network were utilizing these animations. And the best part is right now the local content that rock the chart of the TRP. So that means we already have the content. Another thing would be how to create it. Creating would be, we already have a ready workforce of IT and animation. Most of the work of this IT and animation gets done in India. All we need is a push in right direction. If we are able to push it in right direction, we can have ready content as well as blockbuster content, and combine it, we would be able to present our ideas in best format. Another thing that I think haven't been utilized up till now is data repository. Earlier generations, I won't gonna say that they were bad, but our generation has been blessed, and with one additional information is that we are connected. The amount of networking that has been networking options that have been presented to us are endless, and this thing has been seen especially in Bharat, is that our current youth is not only connected, but they want to contribute to the society. This is on one end. Another end that we have is that we have old books, old traditions, old knowledgeable people. Take the case of Dattopad Thingdi. He has written a socio-economic book. Not just the old means, I'm not talking about in millennium old or hundreds or 200 years old. Just 20 or 30 years old, he has written a book on socio-economic. That is one of the best books. And what we have done, we haven't even republished it. Forget about having an online copy of it or distributing it, we haven't republished it. It got just published once and that's it, finalized. Then another person is Shrikant Talagedi. That was in Indologist, the biggest name that anyone would ask would be Cornet Ernst. But this person, Shrikant Talagedi, he had done a lot of research in Indology. And what he has done is, he has done it all by himself. Himself as in, he wasn't supported by the government or any organization, and he was able to prove Aryan invasion theory wrong by himself. He was able to prove that not just Aryans were settled on right side or west of the India, but they were also present on the east side. This is one of the biggest findings you can say in history. And no one knows about him. The only person who, if you want to know about him, would be Cornel Ernst. If Cornel Ernst wants to have some kind of a discussion, intellectual discussion, he would be having that kind of a discussion with Shrikant Talagedi. But if we want any kind of information about Indology, we would be going to Cornel Ernst. So when we have this kind of a knowledge with us, why don't we utilize it? So if we act as a bridge between the two and create a repository or a directory for Indologist experts, and we can present those information and those ready directory to the person or any company who wants to run and want to contribute forums. If any person wants to contribute if any person or any experts wants to contribute or wants to present his ideas, what we can do is we can have this ready directory, present it to the company or whosoever wants to run a program, and those experts could come up and present those ideas. That way, not only the old information would be passed on to the new generation, but also this information could be used in a better marketable way. Now, I'm not just talking about traditions and everything, but this particular thing could be very useful from marketing, not just marketing perspective, but from different industries also. Take for example, culinary industry or the tourism industry. Right now in India or in Bharat, we have a lot of places that have not been visited, or people don't know about that. If we create an open forum, a kind of a Wikipedia sort of thing, which is being managed and controlled for quality control by experts, what we can have is that all the large swath of youths who wants to contribute to the society, they can take pictures from their own places and contribute to this particular data repository. Along with that, what we can do is that we have right now with us one of the best thing that we have from culinary perspective is that US or Western people have found their freeze drying method of dehydration, by which they are able to, you can say, sustain their food for longer period of time, while we are utilizing it from long time. Nagaland has a culture of preserving their food by utilizing these methods, while the Rajasthan area has the similar thing. We say it ki chhaw mein sukha diya hai. Now the same thing could be utilized and presented to culinary industry. Now, using the existing media, these are the things that we can use from older perspective, but what's the issue with the current thing? Current thing that we have, the problem we have is that presenting your content is good, but the presenter should be also be good. Now, current presenters that we have, or when we want to present our ideas, are that current presenters would be Astro Uncle or Samosa Baba. Means if you switch on your TV, you want to know about Bharat or the civilization we have, the traditions we have, or about the Hindu society. Who are our representative? These are our representative. So they are not just representing, but they are misrepresenting. So even if someone wants to come to our side, they would feel that they are the marketers, then what kind of a civilization or the culture they would be having. So what we should be doing is that we should buy the media's news space from media houses and give it to these experts, the experts that we had in the data repository. Use these experts and directories, and the success is assured being because we already proved it in animation industry, also with serials like Maharana Pratap and Chanakya, that our content is quite good. Only thing that we need is good presenters and the platform to present it. Another thing that that has not been used that much is usage of radio and publication houses. See, media is good, that's okay. Everyone likes to see the newspapers, everyone likes to read the newspapers, but you can say the cool thing would be being seen on the TV. But still, from India's perspective, main issue that we have is that the reach of radio is still much more. Reach of radio is much more. So what we can do is we can create nodal points, and these nodal points can act as the data collection information also, and we can present those times we can present those data centers and provide them with information. Now, way forward for our society would be that we have to come out of our save life mentality. Everyone wants to be a doctor or engineer. That's okay. Money is also okay, and having a stability is also good. But we have to be leaders, thinkers, and innovators. Capture not just media, but academics also, because academics is a field that not just captures today, but it captures tomorrow also. So for us, the motto should be, don't react today because of yesterday, but start acting with strategy for tomorrow. Thank you.
Very rightly said that we have to go for the third kind of media, the new age media, the new media, because the traditional media oral tradition and the mass media print. It's a so we have to focus on that thing. And he also opened a new debate that whether we lack funds or we lack the content, the R&D part, research and development. My idea is that we lack in R&D part. What happened in late 90s, there was two movies. One is from Hollywood, Saving Private Ryan, and another was Border. So some journalists asked Subhash Ghai, one of the so-called great film directors from India, why don't you people make this kind of movie, Saving Private Ryan? He said that we don't have funds. But just 3 years back, I saw one movie called Ravana, whatever you want to say. So that was 100 crore, 10 million rupees movie. So I didn't like that movie. So I think that we don't lack funds now. So we just lack content. Means our film industry don't want to invest on R&D. Means in Hollywood they hire scientists, historians for their epic. But if you see that Mangal Pandey movie or any epic movie based on, so you will not like it, that what Amir Khan was doing with Rani Mukherjee, from where that song was coming. So we have to have work on our research thing. So we have to do that thing, the new media thing. I am very much agree with you. So I would like to call upon our last speaker, Aniket Kale. Aniket Kale is from ABVP, and he is going to speak on ABVP, Nurturing Youth Leadership, Nurturing Youth Nationalist Leadership in Bharat. Aniket Kale.
Thank you, respected Chairman, sir, and special thanks to organizing committee, because it was last minute request to organizing committee that please include some presentation, small presentation from ABVP, so we could share the activities of ABVP, that is Nationalistic Student Movement. And with proudly I'll say that 30 lakh student member, exactly student member across the India ABVP is having. So they will also understand the depth that ABVP is doing and work that ABVP is doing in India. So Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad is working among the students and youth of India from Lakshadweep till Andaman and Nicobar, and from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. ABVP is having its center. And the importance of ABVP is because the most of anti-nationalistic forces like Communist Party, SFI, ISA, they are like, exactly Swadesh says, it's very difficult in JNU that you are wearing saffron colored tika on your head and sitting in the classroom. They are what we can say, they make their ways in all these kind of educational institutes, so they can produce all the loaded guns with anti-Indian thoughts, anti-Bharat thoughts and anti-Bharatiya ideology. So by identifying this need, ABVP is working in across all the college campuses to nurture a leadership with the nationalistic values, and basically ABVP is follow the same school of thought that we all are follow, that RSS school of thought. So we can develop that leadership. See the basic difference between the last government, Gandhi Parivar, dynasty is there, Sachin Pilot, son of whom, then Scindias, then Meera Kumari, and here the next government, and try to link them their family dynasty. No one is having any family background of the politics. All the leaders in this present government, they came from the ABVP background. A small organization can give platform to the people, those who are really good in the social sense and the nationalistic thought. So ABVP is working in that. Then while working, we came across one need, that this anti-Bharatiya thought, basically communist ideology, which is the biggest challenge for nationalistic thought in India. They are working in all the premium institute like JNU is there, IITs are there, IISCs are there. So by identifying that need, ABVP started an initiative called Think India. That forum specifically works in all these central universities and premium institutes of India, which produce think tanks for this country. And we are having one program called Anubhuti, in which we invite all the people from this institute and give their 1 month voluntarily, where they can work on the Seva project run by our sister organization across the India. And response for that is very good. So now they are also helpless. This other ideology, anti-ideologies, they are also helpless how to counter these activities. So they came out with the Beef Festival, activities like Beef Festival in the college campuses. You all are aware about the activity that just happened, that is Kiss of Love. So it's so you all were aware, and ABVP is fighting against all these things by saying that there must be an election for the student council. the people, the communist ideology, the leftist ideology people, they are thinking that if we open a student council election in India, there would be a natural leadership that will come, and natural leadership always have natural attachment with the nationalistic thought, so they are afraid. So our thought people would be more in the student union, they would be there in the decision making. So ABVP is now demanding that there must be a student council election at all university level and college level, so there would be more and more student participation, so we can have more and more members from our thought, our ideological background to protect national interests. So like this, we people are working. And another thing that I wanted to share with you, 30 years ago, ABVP floated one forum that is called World Organization of Students and Youth. This forum, I'm also working with it. So this forum is working amongst all international students, those who are coming to study in India. And just to help them, they have several problems. We are not working amongst the PIOs or NRIs. We directly work in the people, those who are coming from Arab world, Middle East, wherever they're from, and we help them. So now ABVP is having its World Organization of Students and Youth, having its alumni networks across 40 countries. And when our Modi ji went to Thimphu, Bhutan, he met with an alumni of WOSI. He is now member of parliament from the Thimphu. And these achievements are there. We have so many alumni who's working as an advisor to Ugandan governments and Afghanistan also. And Mauritius is the place where WOSI is having its alumni in each district, 2-3 alumni. So like this, ABVP is doing the work. And last year, from last 2 years, we are thinking to float a forum for the student, those who are going to UK, Australia, USA, New Zealand for their studies, that Indian student, those who are going from India to all these countries, can we have some kind of connect between ABVP here and organization like Vishwa Hindu Parishad New Zealand or Youth Association in USA or National Student Forum of United Kingdom. So we could work on that. So that's what I wanted to put in front of you people. I once again thanks organizer for giving us time in very short notice. Thank you very much.
We are going to end the session, but before that, again I repeat my question that the topic was Hindu leadership, young Hindus leading the resurgence. So again, means why this resurgence? Do we want to rule the world? Have we ever ruled the world? Have we ever went to any place and invaded that place? We went to Indonesia for business. Our pandits went there and performed pujas. But have we ever invaded? So why we want Hindu civilizational resurgence? Anyone want to tell that why we want in this Hindu resurgence? Why do you want to see yourself at the helm of affairs? Why at the top of the world? Anyone? Yeah, please.
Historically, India is not an invading country. Fine, that is okay. But invasion is not of one kind. I mean, you can conquer mind, you can conquer hearts, you can conquer their thought process, which ultimately, we have a lot more things to offer. But the thing is, we are surrounded by so many myths and propagandas. We should come out of it. One should know, one should realize that we are the sons and daughters of great rishis. They were the scholars. So one should realize that.
Thank you. Rishi,
राजा का कर्तव्य है कि वो अपने बॉर्डर्स को एक्सपैंड करे. So it is a misconception कि हमें इन्वेड नहीं करना, इन्वेड भी करना है.
No, I was just.
ये है कि we are at present not in that position to invade physically. लेकिन वो हमारा लक्ष्य होना चाहिए. हमने स्वर्ग पे आक्रमण किए हैं.
Means I was just telling about history that in written history of last 3,000 years. Iran was that at that time was part of India, not. Okay, we will discuss this later. Means politically, yeah, border changes. So borders की जहाँ तक बात है तो एक दूसरा विषय. Anyone else? Why we want means your idea that why you want to see Hindu civilization resurgence in your lifetime?
So firstly, I'll say he's not incorrect. We should really demystify that there has never been invasion by Hindu kingdoms, and we're not going to go into that now. But I think what you said was probably incorrect, that we aren't aiming to be top of the world. We are just getting the family together and building a house. We don't even have the basics. Let's keep it simple. We're getting organized. We're quite lame right now, and we need to build a house. This is the best forum, and we're doing it well.
Good. So means we want Hindu resurgence, not for that thing. Good, sir.
Yeah, I guess yesterday one word was used, Vasudev Kudupakam. So this is the approach which I guess only Hindus are having. So for achieving the world peace, for the unity of the world, because probably we are only one in the world who think that the whole world is a family. So to achieve this purpose, we need to do this kind of activities, and if we would be able to achieve that, which definitely we would be, we would become a one family.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can also discuss it later, because this house is open for questions for these people also. So you can also ask question, query, or comment on their presentations.
Changing the topic a little bit. I have a question for Archit. So I know you talked about reject, respect, and rise. So I was just wondering if you had any suggestions about how to rise up against things that we read, because so I'm from the United States. So in the United States, we have a lot of academics and professors who are basically teaching these things to their students about how, I have a quote actually from one of the professors in the United States who said, Hinduism is inherently a violent and, really a bad religion, and basically like the Bhagavad Gita promotes, violence and all this stuff. So, and there's like so many other examples from various other professors, and these people are giving you your grades in school. Hindu youth at that time, they also are learning, they're first learning about Hinduism, especially in the United States at that time, that you don't really know much about your own culture. You just kind of follow what your parents are saying until you get to college, and then you start asking questions. So they're learning this perspective from school, and school is where you're supposed to learn sort of unbiased things. That's where you go for education. So how do you propose that we rise up against this, in short?
That's a great question, and I don't know if I'll be able to completely answer it, truth be told. But for those that aren't familiar, that's definitely the case in the United States. Hinduism is not, or the Hindu Dharma is not so entrenched in America. A lot of people don't know what the Hindu Dharma is, so that's just a little bit of context. To address your question, though, I think you kind of hit at it in asking. The fact of the matter is that we don't really know who we are. And how can you tell anyone else who we are if you don't know who you are? Yeah, so what I was saying is that goes to what Sarika was saying yesterday about the colonial consciousness. But I think part of it is the fact that we don't go to the source, to your point. We go to everyone else's. But I think there needs to be an infrastructure created in America and other nations that promotes the Hindu Dharma and what it stands for, right? Beyond the fact that we have rituals, you bought a new car, let's do this car puja, or let's do this, good luck on college puja. What do the texts say? What is that we're actually driving towards? Because at the end of the day, the Hindu Dharma drives at self-realization, right? If that's the case, and we learn that at a young age, whether it's through our temples, our parents, the infrastructure that's created, then we'll be able to rise and then actually answer the question. So when your professor says, the Bhagavad Gita, what was the word that you used? Inherently violent. Well, then you can just say, no, it's not. It's about an individual who's faced with doing his duty versus not, right? Suddenly, if we're educated, then we can understand where the person's coming from, because it's ignorance, right? And we can change the color that the colonials have provided us. So I think that would be the biggest thing. I'm a huge proponent of the educational part of it. So,
yeah.
Anything you wanted to add?
I have one quick, I don't know, maybe I'm never quick, but I could run fast. So, one quick thing, and I believe there was a practical component to your question that you asked, and it's a truly dizzying concern between I gotta get good grades and I gotta maintain what I believe in. Now, how do we do both together? So I took a Hinduism 101 course in college by proxy. I wasn't actually enrolled in it, but I had a roommate from Bombay who was an idiot, and he would ask me for help. And I'm reading all this stuff, and I said, dude, this is garbage. And I wrote his paper for him. I wrote it in line with actual Hindu principles. He got the highest grade in the class on it. All right, now, I was a famously, self-admitted, exceptionally poor student, like lazy student. I got good grades, but I was a lazy student. I would stand up and in law school, where you don't do this, I would stand up and tell the professor, look, I'm sorry, I'm shamelessly unprepared. I don't want to waste everyone's time. Please dock me, whatever you need to dock me, and work that out for your books, but it's disrespectful for me to pretend to slog through an answer. And then I would go back at the end after class and speak with the professor and say, look, this is what happened, da, da, da. And I would show them that I care. I would actually have a dialogue with the professor, and they respected me more because I stood up and I said, nope, you know what? It's not a perfect analogy, but there's a comparative level here. They've respected me because I said, you know what, the status quo is to do this and muddle through an answer. I'm not going to, because I believe in something and that I don't want to disrespect this. And they will respect me more. If you say respectfully and you disagree with them respectfully and you go talk to them afterwards, look, this is what I believe in, not because you may have a PhD, but I live this. If you go with them and you talk to them later respectfully, one-to-one, they'll have more respect for you because of it, and they might actually listen to you. Yeah. Some of them won't. Wendy Doniger won't.
Yeah, okay. I absolutely will. One quick thing, though. So the other thing is also you got to like stand up and actually like email or say whatever you need to say to the person, so that way you convey to them your displeasure with whatever was expressed.
Hi, I just have a recommendation for the panel in front. The first recommendation, building up on the last panel that we had, what you people have said, is the need to target your audience. And what I saw was that while people were speaking, there was also a language barrier, and a lot of, we are quite diverse in Hindu, so you need to make sure that when you're giving in some of the recommendations or inclusiveness of other Hindus, you also need to make sure in perhaps the next forum that we'll have to ensure that there is a translator, and also if there could be an opportunity for them to speak as well. And the other one that I want to say is that towards the IT person, I love your ideas, and I think one of the other things that you could also focus on is having a video bank and doing a video training for, especially for youths that are working in very conflict areas, and because I think where their life is at risk, they could also be using videos to translate informations to people, which will give more clear pictures. So maybe something along video training would be a very good idea.
A particular concept.
Okay.
We haven't, you can say, materialized it, but the ideation and conceptualization part has been done. So we are working on it. The data repository that I was suggesting was not just the text part or the old part, but the one that we are currently facing.
Yes.
So, and videos that you are saying is quite good. Videos present the most impact.
Yes,
So definitely that's a good idea.
And just maybe in the next forum, be mindful of the diverse languages that we have here, because it will really encourage, for example, the speakers that spoke earlier on, they had difficulty in terms of translating what they were trying to say. And with respect to that, maybe we could focus more deeper into the next forums, because that's also about building their leadership. Because if they are not built on leadership area in that area, then you can't really change the situation that they're in. All right, thank you.
Any other question? Okay, we start from Sushant.
I'd just like to tell a personal story in regards to what Arjit Kumar said about like what's happening in misconceptions about Hindu Dharma and all that. Actually, when I was in university and I do political economy honors subjects, basically what happened was that I was talking about the plight of Hindus in Pakistan as an example. So this person, she interrupts me and basically saying that I'm basically this right-wing extremist Hindu, and I basically go blasting all out at her. I basically say, you're concerned about those Palestinian people who started the war with Israel, but when Hindus are being killed, you do nothing. They're being killed in Pakistan. There's a genocide going on in the Chittagong Hills Tracts in Bangladesh. They're being demographically annihilated in Afghanistan. There are no Hindus in the Kashmir Valley, and all she cares about is what's happening in Palestine, about the so-called Palestinian people. And I also tell her, where is your outrage when ISIS is killing the Yazidis in Iraq? What are you doing when they ethnically cleansed out the Assyrians out of Mosul? That's the question I asked. And basically, think about it. I'm like the one non-communist, anti-communist, in a subject which is predominantly communist. That's one. And another thing is I did a Good Society report, which I did talk about, like, the establishment of a good ideal society being a Hindu society, a Hindu nation. And again, I was the one that was saying for national sovereignty for Bharat, because my case study was Bharat. And again, they all came out at me saying that misconceptions about Hindu Dharma, saying that I'm basically trying to promote cultural, imperialism. I'm not promoting cultural imperialism. I'm promoting cultural isolationism. What I'm trying to say is this. You have 58 Islamic countries in the world. You have more than 150 Christian-dominated countries in the world. You have half a dozen Buddhist countries in the world. Israel is a Jewish state. But why is it that we have one country with a Hindu majority not being able to call itself a Hindu nation? Make no mistake about it. Tamil Nadu or a Hindu Nadu. India is a Hindu nation. That's what I asserted there. I probably would have been docked marks because of what I said, because I didn't agree with the professor, but so be it. I'd much rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
I would like to suggest you be diplomatic. Get your degree, get your grades. That will earn you more respectively. And choose some presentation which is not controversial.
Shilpi ji. Yeah, please.
So this is a question for Aniket ji. So I'm from the National Hindu Students from the UK. Currently we're in a position where we have a lot of leaders coming through the process. They're developing incredibly well. And I suppose the question then is, what do you do with all of them, right? How did ABVP develop its network with other organizations, with kind of the people around it, to ensure that that development continued even beyond ABVP or NHSF? How do you ensure that that leadership is then utilized?
Since ABVP is working from more than 60 years, it's having its time-tested philosophy, and work of ABVP is based on its network of the student who are coming in ABVP. The first and foremost important thing is ABVP registered only a student who is really enrolled somewhere in the course in college and the universities. That is the first thing. And when they comes, we have a process called, we are calling it Abhyas Varga, you can call it training program, at the city level, state level and national level also. So we train them and we tell them that the link must go on. So when they are doing some kind of protest for the student issue, when they're organizing some nationalistic talk, so many people will come, they will attend and they will contact our volunteers. How could I become the part of this ideology? Because they feel, the audience feel that they are somewhere connecting with this thought. So they get connected with this organization, and yearly from 9th July, 9th July is the establishment day of ABVP on the 9th July, so we celebrate is a National Student Day. So from 9 July till end of August, we have yearly membership drive where our volunteer stand on each college campus gate and they will ask for till 2 years ago, it was 1 rupees membership. From last 2 years, we make it 2 rupees. You give 2 rupees and you will become member of ABVP. Like this, we successfully crossed 30 lakh this year. Next year, our target is 50 lakh. So when we have that data of that particular person with us, we contact him during the program. He comes in ABVP and it's a very informal process. It's very humanistic in nature, that interpersonal dialogue develop that person to become Karyakarta and then become leader of an organization.
I have a question to Aniket ji. As a brother, I'm asking you this, that although you say, we understand that the numbers are actually very huge, when you say that ABVP has grown so much over the last 60 years. But when we say in urban youth, or probably from friends that have been, I've seen in the universities, ABVP does not really enjoy a good reputation. I think we need to improve by understanding the critics. When you took up that Kiss of Love, I attended one program of Sri Ravi Shankar ji, and he said that mind is the supreme thing that a human being has got. So what exactly happens is, when you're trying to tell them that you don't have to think about a jumping monkey for the next 5 minutes, what you don't have to think about is jumping monkey. your mind will keep on thinking about jumping monkey. Right. So when you're telling the youth, don't do this, so what you will resist will persist. And just in the heat, both are my brothers, people who are supporting Kiss of Love and people who are opposing Kiss of Love. I won't say that they're not Hindus. They may be lesser right, you may be, sometimes lesser right than, them as well. But the idea is, because of this conflict that is within our Hindu community, people have been going away from the ideologies and beliefs of Hindus. So what we need to do is to empower ABVP or organizations that we have, because Bharat is the root. We are the base from which everything originated. We spread all over the world from here, but we need to make sure that the base is strong. So how does the base get stronger? By ensuring that everyone who's in the family feels like I am in the family, right? So we need to take critics positively. I've never been to the university, so I don't know how things work out there. But I'm sorry to say, but ABVP does not enjoy a good reputation. So it's all about branding, Youth will always follow on. Youth will always follow on what you say, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's very human ideology.
Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
a very brotherly feedback from me.
I'll just give you in 2 minutes from Kiss of Love to what we can say a premium institute. Kiss of Love is actually reaction to live-in relationship stand that ABVP took. And Mr. Rohit Chel, National Secretary, former National Secretary of ABVP is here. He never received any love letter from girl, but he received open letter from a JNU girl that how live-in relationship is good. So that was a reaction to the live-in relationship, Kiss of Love. And second thing, this is the basic motive of this organization, that ABVP is trying to go into these places where you think that it's kind of very, what we can say, upper economic class college or universities. ABVP has had this network through Think India. We already taken such kind of initiatives. So how we can go into this group and increase our members in such groups also. We are working on that.
So friends, at last, actually we have to wind up, it's 12:32. So, yeah. So we will discuss during the lunch. So my idea is that we have to just work on our minds. We have to decolonize our mind. And if you want to say that, you can Hinduize our mind. So that resurgence will happen, and I can assure you that in this era of knowledge economy, India is going to emerge, that Hindu civilization is going to emerge. What happened 2000 years ago when Chanakya was there. So we have a Chanakya in the name of, it's my own idea that RSS, and we also have a Chandragupta. And since last 6 months, we are witnessing a resurgence in political field, and we will definitely see that resurgence in the field of art, culture, cinema, and other institutions. But we have to work with, as Shilpi ji was saying, that tactical positioning of Hindu society, and we have to work in institutional framework. And ये होने ही जा रहा है. This Hindu resurgence is going to happen. Evam Mastu, Vande Bharat Mataram. Thank you.